Hi everyone, my name is Nathan, and I work for Avalon Youth Services. Today, we're talking about something super important, and that's boundaries and consent. If you've ever felt uncomfortable in a situation, but weren't sure how to handle it, this video is for you. Let's break down what boundaries are, why they matter, and how consent fits into all of this. What are boundaries? Think of boundaries like the invisible lines around your personal comfort zone. They can be physical, emotional, or mental. Physical boundaries deal with your personal space, such as whether you're okay with hugs or high fives. Emotional boundaries establish how much personal information you share or how you handle sensitive topics. You might feel comfortable talking to your friends about a date, but not family troubles. Mental boundaries surround your thoughts or beliefs. For instance, feeling comfortable expressing certain opinions, but maybe not others. Maybe you love to talk about movies, politics, not so much. Here's the deal. Everyone's boundaries can be different. What feels comfortable to me might not feel comfortable to you. And that's totally okay. The important part is communicating those boundaries. Another thing to remember is that boundaries can change, daily, even hourly. You might be in the mood for a friendly hug one day, and the next day, you'd rather keep some distance. That doesn't mean you're inconsistent. It just means you're in a different headspace emotionally or physically. It's up to us to express our boundaries. But keep in mind, if someone crosses that boundary after you've made it clear, that's not your fault. The person who crossed it is responsible for their own actions, and it's their responsibility to respect your comfort levels. If they choose not to, no, not on you. Now, let's talk about consent. You might have heard that word tossed around, but what does it really mean? Consent is basically a clear yes to something, whether it's a hug, a handshake, sharing a secret, or something more personal. There's a really handy acronym called FRIES that helps break down what consent should look like. F, freely given. Consent should be a choice without pressure, force, or manipulation. If someone is guilting or forcing you, that's not real consent. R, reversible. You can change your mind at any point. Even if you said yes in the beginning, that doesn't mean you have to continue if you become uncomfortable. I, for informed. You should know exactly what you're agreeing to. No hidden details or I'll tell you later stuff. If you're not sure, ask questions until you feel confident. E, for enthusiastic. Consent should come from a place of genuine excitement or comfort, not from feeling guilted into it. If it's not an enthusiastic yes, it's a no. S, for specific. Saying yes to one thing doesn't automatically mean yes to everything else. For example, if you're cool with someone borrowing your phone for a quick call, that doesn't mean you're cool with them going through all your photos, right? Let's take a look at some real-life examples of what establishing a boundary might look like. What might establishing a physical boundary look like? You're in the school hallway with a friend who always greets you with a hug. Normally, you're okay with it, but today, you're feeling anxious or simply not in the mood. What you might say, "Hey, I'm not feeling hugs right now. Can we do a high five instead?" Why this matters. You've clearly stated your boundary. If your friend respects it and offers a high five or just says, "No problem," then both of you can move on comfortably. If they hug you anyway, that's a violation of your boundary. Remember, it's not your fault if someone disregards what you've clearly expressed. What might establishing an emotional boundary look like? A friend of yours always comes to you for life advice, and normally you're happy to give it. But today, your friend asks you for advice about a mutual friend that you're not comfortable giving. What you might say, "I don't feel comfortable talking about our friend like this. Can we talk about something else?" Why this matters. You have every right to set an emotional boundary in a conversation, and you don't have to talk or share information you don't want to. If a friend, no matter how close, can't respect that, you can end that conversation and walk away. What does consent look like? You're watching a movie with someone you're dating or really like. They reach out to hold your hand and you agree. Feels nice, right? Later, they lean in for a kiss, and you're comfortable with that too. But then they try to move on to something more physical, and suddenly you're not too sure, or you feel anxious. What you might say: I'm okay with kissing, but I'm not comfortable going any further right now. Or if you've changed your mind entirely, actually, I'm not comfortable kissing anymore. Can we just watch the movie? Why this matters. Consent is specific and reversible. Saying yes to a kiss doesn't mean saying yes to anything beyond that. If the other person respects your decision and stops, that's a positive sign they understand boundaries. If they push you or even just try to persuade you, that's a violation of your consent. It's crucial to remember that you can always change your mind at any point, and that should be respected without question. Now that we know a little bit more about what boundaries are, here's some practical tips for establishing boundaries. First, know yourself. Spend some time figuring out where your boundaries lie. What makes you feel uneasy? Where do you draw the line? Practice saying no, or not right now, or I'm not sure. It might feel awkward at first, but it's perfectly okay to speak up for yourself. Check in with friends. If you're the one initiating contact, like offering a hug or sharing sensitive info, ask first. A simple, "Is this cool with you?" goes a long way. Use I statements. When expressing boundaries, say things like, "I don't feel comfortable with," or "I need some space." It's direct and clear. Remember, boundaries and consent aren't just fancy words for saying no. They're about respect, communication, and making sure everyone feels safe and comfortable. Whether it's with family, friends, or anyone else, you deserve to have your boundaries listened to. If you ever feel uncertain or uneasy, that's a sign to check in with yourself. Figure out what's bothering you, and speak up if you need to. You deserve to have your boundaries and decisions honored. Until next time, take care and remember, your boundaries matter.